नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सखगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसूते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ईश्वरा परम कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंदा सर्व कारण कारणम। हरे कृष्ण। I welcome all the devotees who are joining for the first time today. And today we are going to study in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. As you know, 5 days in a week, we are in the 9th chapter now. And on Saturday evening, Sunday morning, India time, we are in the 3rd chapter now. So we are going to study 4 slokas. So for the devotees who are joining for the first time, I will be covering slokas from different chapters, so you won't miss anything. So Krishna is teaching in this entire Bhagavad Gita based on Arjuna's questions. So in the 2nd chapter itself, Krishna taught Arjuna that understand that you are not the body, and also understand that you are stuck inside this body. So now you act with intelligence so that you can get out of this body, get rid of this body. So that's what Krishna is teaching in the 2nd chapter. So then Arjuna is asking a lot of questions. That's why we are having this complete Bhagavad Gita with 18 chapters, 700 slokas, 700 verses. Because Arjuna is asking very nice, excellent questions. So the first question Arjuna asked Krishna, that what are the symptoms of a self-realized person? That we studied at length in the 2nd chapter, from the sloka number 55 to from 55 to 72. So about 18 slokas, Krishna has explained very, very clearly the symptoms of a self-realized person. So that means having achieved steady intelligence. Self-realized person means sthita prajna. Sthita prajna means his prajna, his consciousness, his intelligence is staying at the same place. That's what sthita. Sthita means it's steady, staying at the same place. It's not wavering at all. So there Krishna explained very clearly about that. We studied at length. Then after Krishna finished in the 2nd chapter, after answering this Arjuna's question, Krishna finished with the sloka saying that a person who has achieved that sthita prajna status, that means whose intelligence is very well established. So that person, actually, if he is able to be in that status until the time of death, then he will be able to enter into Krishna's abode. That is Brahma Nirvanam Richati. Brahma Nirvana. Yesa Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitva Syamanta Kalepi Brahma Nirvanam Richati. So if one is situated in the same status until the time of death, stitva syam anta kale, so then he can enter into Krishna's abode, Brahma Nirvanam Richati. So that means a person who has come to that Brahman status is not at all connected with this material world. He is very peaceful. He is very, very peaceful. Sasantim adhigacchati. Santim adhigacchati means he has attained everlasting peace of mind. And that is possible by giving up our attachment to desires to gratify our senses, attachment to material things, material sense objects. So then only we can achieve peace of mind. Vihaya kamanya sarvan. Pumams charati nisprigaga. Nisprigaga means in the desireless state. So when a person attains the desireless state, nisprigaga, so that means by giving up all attachments, vihaya kaman, all desires, vihaya kamanya sarvan, by giving up all desires and attaining the desireless state, vihaya kamanya sarvan pumams charati nisprigaga nirmamo nirahankaraga. So that means nirmamo, without claiming for proprietorship. Nirahankara means no false ego. So nirmamo nirahankara sasantim adhigacchati. He attains everlasting peace of mind. That's what Krishna is giving the formula to achieve peace of mind. The formula to achieve peace of mind is not getting ourselves attached to material sense objects. And that is possible by ourselves connecting with Krishna. Even though Krishna is not teaching such things in the second chapter, but afterwards when Arjuna is asking more questions, we are understanding very well that we will be able to give up attachment to the material sense objects only if we are able to develop attachment towards Krishna. So because in the second chapter itself, Krishna said that you give up the attachment to the results. So how it is practical for us to give up the attachment to the results? We will get the results. When we are working, when we are acting, the results are going to come. And how is it possible for us to give up attachment to the results? It is possible only when we are attached to Krishna. Otherwise, it is not possible. Because when we are attached to Krishna, of course, we will work for results only. But those results, we know that those results we are going to offer to Krishna. And we also know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whatever happens, the results, whether it is success or failure with respect to ourselves. With respect to ourselves, we may think that it is a failure. But with respect to Krishna, it is a success. That is the main thing. Because Krishna will never achieve any failure. In Krishna's activities, when Krishna will never ever meet with failure. So Krishna is always successful. So that means when we are doing something for Krishna, we should know that those results, whether we get it or not, what we want, we get it, or what we get what we don't want, it doesn't matter. Because those results belong to Krishna only. And if those results are needed, Krishna would have got it. So that way, for us, whether there is nothing like failure, it is always success. Whatever we do and whatever is the outcome, it is always success only. It is never failure for a devotee. Because the devotee is always only focused on Krishna only, not on the results. Like Arjuna in the battlefield. So Arjuna fought for Krishna. Arjuna didn't expect the results at that point of time. Arjuna didn't care whether he is going to win or he is going to lose. Who told Krishna in the beginning, I don't know whether to win or to lose, then how can I fight? That's what Arjuna told Krishna. Yadva jayema yadivana jayeyu. So I don't know. Nachaitat vidmaha kataranno gariyo yadva jayema yadivana jayeyu. I don't know what is good for me. Nachaitat vidmaha kataranno gariyo. Kataranno gariyo. Kataranno gariyo means I don't know what is good for me. Winning in this battle or losing in this battle. Which one is good for me? I don't know. Because Arjuna thought that either way he is going to lose. By winning, he has to kill all his cousins and his grandfather and his teacher, everyone. By losing, he will get killed, and all his brothers and everybody who came there thinking that Arjuna is going to protect them, they all get killed. So either way, Arjuna thought that it is going to be a loss for him. So that's why he told Krishna that I don't know what is good for me, whether to win or to lose. But after getting the complete knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna understood that it is good for him only if he pleases Krishna. So that's what he asked Krishna also. You tell me what is good for me. Yesterday, yasya nishchitam bruhi tanmi. You tell me for certain what is good for me. So Arjuna understood very clearly that it is good for him if he pleases Krishna. So that way, he has to fight for Krishna. Because Krishna wanted him to fight. That he knows. That he knows from the beginning. That Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight. So, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, after understanding the complete Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, Arjuna has very well understood that it is good for him to do what Krishna wants him to do. That's it. So, at that point of time, Arjuna didn't even think whether to win or to lose. Because he knows that Krishna wanted him to fight. That's it. And when he wants to please Krishna to fight, of course he is going to use all his skills. He's not going to because at that point of time he is motivated to please Krishna only. So when we are motivated to please Krishna, we are going to use all our skills, but we are not going to be disturbed by the results. So at that point of time, Arjuna didn't think about the results, whether he's going to win or he's going to lose or which is good for him and all. He didn't think about it. He knows that he understood very clearly that fighting for Krishna is good for him. That's it. And he fought for Krishna without thinking about the results. That's exactly Krishna is asking us to do in our life every day in each and every activity. Just do everything for me. Don't think about the results. Don't worry about the results. So that way, we have to just do everything for Krishna that is good for us. That's it. That's a mindset we will get when we study and understand this complete Bhagavad Gita, because that's what Arjuna got. Because Arjuna, when he studied and understood the entire Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna got that mindset. Arjuna was very, very clear. He knew exactly what he is doing. So he told Krishna very clearly that I am now very well situated. I am Sitosmi. So I don't have any doubts. I don't have any confusions. Everything is gone. I know what to do. So Arjuna was fighting for Krishna. So that way, if we get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita fully and understand it completely, and if we realize like Arjuna that it is our duty only to please Krishna, that's it. So then at that point of time, it is possible for us to give up all attachments to the results, all attachments to this material sense objects. So Vihaya Kamanya Sarvan Pumams Charati Nisprika. We won't be disturbed by anything. We won't be bothered by anything because we are all the time thinking only Krishna. We are able to think only Krishna all the time. So nirmamo nirahankaraga sasantim adhigacchati. So we will not have any claims for any proprietorship and we will not have any ahankara, no false ego. Then we will be able to attain the everlasting supreme peace of mind. Sasantim adhigacchati. Once we get that peace of mind, we can go to Krishna. That's what is called, this status is called Brahmi Sthiti. Esa Brahmi Sthiti Partha. That is the Brahmi Sthiti, means you are situated in the Brahman status. So when when our goal in our life, in every day, in each and every activity, if our goal is only to please Krishna, nothing else. If you are able to do everything only just to please Krishna, nothing else. So then at that point of time, so we will be able to elevate ourselves to the Brahman status, Brahman platform. So that's what Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita. But to achieve that status, now Arjuna is next in the third chapter, he is asking the question to Krishna that you are asking me to use intelligence, but you are asking me to fight in this ghastly warfare. I know that an intelligent person will not fight in this battle because that means it is not using intelligence. So an intelligent person will not go kill all his relatives, all his kinsmen. An intelligent person will not do it. So you are asking me to use intelligence, but at the same time you are asking me to fight here also. So both are contradicting each other. So that's why I am confused, Krishna. So jayasi chet karmanaste matha buddhi janardana. If you think that using intelligence is better than doing the fruitive works, fruitive activities, then why do you want me to fight in this ghastly warfare? So now I'm confused by your equivocal instructions, because here Arjuna is not questioning Krishna that what he, like Arjuna understood that Krishna wanted him to fight. So that he understood very well. But Arjuna is questioning Krishna that you are asking me to act with intelligence. So then how do you say that if by fighting here I am using my intelligence? That's what he's asking. So because I'm confused with your equivocal instructions, and now you please tell me again for certain, tell me one thing. Don't confuse me like this. Tadekam vada nischitya yena sreyo aham apnya. Just only one thing so that I can achieve perfection, so that it is good for me. So then only Krishna is now teaching about this karma yoga. This third chapter is about the karma yoga. Because in the karma yoga, we should not be attached to the results, and we should do the duty, and we should do it everything to please Krishna. So that way, here Krishna is now only bringing the understanding, the science subject that Arjuna has in this situation. He has actually no other go. He has no other option. Arjuna did not have any other option actually. He has to fight there. So that's why Krishna is now teaching in this chapter, that this sloka what we studied in the 5th sloka, in the 4th chapter. Nahi kasyati chanamapi jatutistati akarmakrit karyatege avassaga karma sarvaga prakriti jair gunagi. So like Arjuna, we all have no options in this world. We are all locked in this material world. We are all forced to work in this material world. So we have to do our duty. We have to work. So that is the main thing. So that means using intelligence means we have to work. That's what using intelligence. But using intelligence means you have to work in such a way that we should not be attached to the results. We should not be affected by the results. That's what using intelligence. Karmajam buddhi yuktagi palam tyaktva manisinaga. So buddhi yukta palam tyaktva. Buddhi yukta palam tyaktva. So palam tyaktva means giving up the attachment to the results. So that's what is known as buddhi yukta. That's what means. The meaning is that you are acting with intelligence. So acting with intelligence means giving up the attachment to the results. That's what is acting with intelligence. So if we do that, then we will be freed from the janma bandha, bondage to birth. Then we will be able to reach the destination where there are no more miseries. Padam gacchanti anamayam. We will reach the destination, there are no more miseries. Padam gacchanti anamayam. So then Krishna is teaching about this karma yoga, and Krishna is teaching very clearly that while trying to control our senses, karmendriyas, but if our mind thinks about the sense objects, so that doesn't work. So that means he's a fool and he's a pretender. That's it. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasasmaran indriyartan vimudatma midyacharaga sauchyate. So that fool is known as a pretender. Midyacharaga sauchyate. So that's why Krishna is saying in the next sloka that yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarabate arjuna karmendriyegi karma yogam asaktaga savisisyate. So all of us are stuck in this material world. All of us are forced to act in this material world. We are struggling in this material world. There is no doubt about it. And we are forced to act. But Krishna is teaching here that now try to regulate our senses, working senses, karmendriyas. That's what niyamya arabate. So with the help of the mind, so with the manasa, yastvindriyani manasa niyamya arabate arjuna karmendriyegi karma yogam asaktaga savisisyade. So you perform karma yoga. So that is what is good for you. That's what Krishna is saying, that Karmendriya karma yogam asaktaga sa visisyate. So all of us are exactly in the same position like Arjuna, in the same situation like Arjuna had. So we are all doing different jobs, different work. So we are all in different places, doing different things. We are all stuck and there is no escape for us. We have to work. We have to do what we are doing. We have to do. But we have to do in such a way that it should free ourselves from the bondage to work. That is the main thing. So that's what we are understanding, studying and understanding from Bhagavad Gita. So what we are understanding from Bhagavad Gita very clearly, that the way we work should liberate us from this material world. So we have to work, we have to do our duty, there is no doubt about it. But how we are doing it, that's what is very important. That's why Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita, I shall explain to you what is karma, how to act. Tatte karma pravakshami yajnatva mokshase asubhat. So we need to learn from Bhagavad Gita, from Krishna, about how to act so that we can free ourselves from this karma bandha, bondage to work. So that's why in the next sloka we studied in the sloka number 8 last week, in the 3rd chapter. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajayo akarmanaha sarira yatra pichate na prasiddhayet akarmanaha. So perform your prescribed duties. That is better than not doing your duty. Because having obtained this body, one has to work at least to maintain the body. So that way we understand until now that it is important. It's important that we should work. And we cannot stop working. We have to act. So that part is very clear. But now what kind of work we can do? How we have to act? That's what we are going to study coming in this entire 3rd chapter. That is the Karma Yoga. So in the next sloka, what we are studying for today, in the 9th sloka, in the 3rd chapter, Krishna is saying that this sloka I have quoted many times in the past. Krishna is teaching us that Yajnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangaga samachara. So in the previous sloka, Krishna said that niyatam kuru karmatvam. So perform your prescribed duties. So now here Krishna is saying that yajnarthat karmano. So all the activities should be performed as yajna. So yajna means it is an offering unto Krishna. That is the main thing. So whatever we do, we should offer unto Krishna. Because Krishna is the enjoyer of all yajnas. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. That's what Krishna said in the 5th chapter, last sloka. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. I am the enjoyer of all yajnas, all offerings. So that's why here Krishna is saying that yajnarthat karmano. Anyatra. Any work which is not performed as an offering unto Krishna. That's what anyatra. Yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaga. So this karma bandham, janma bandham, many times I have mentioned in the past. So Krishna is saying that lokoyam karma bandhanaga. It leads to bondage to work in this world. That's what loka is, this world. Karma bandha means bondage to work. So any work which we do, which is not done as an offering unto Krishna. That means which is not meant to please Krishna. What we can offer to Krishna? Only what Krishna wants. So that way we should know what Krishna wants. So from Bhagavad Gita, that means we should know the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. We should understand Bhagavad Gita very well. Then we know what Krishna wants. Then we will be able to do as per Krishna's wish. And then we will be able to offer the results unto Krishna. So then we will be able to free from this bondage to work in this world. That is the way. That is the way to get rid of this material world. That is the way to liberate ourselves from bondage to work. Karma bandha. So that's why Krishna is saying that yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaga tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangaga samachara. So that way you do all your activities as yajna so that you can be liberated, mukta sangaga, from all these attachments, from this material world, mukta sangaga samachara. So That is what samachara means, by doing everything with equanimity. So samacharakam, so we will be able to free yourselves from this material bondage, from this bondage to work. So then in the next sloka, Krishna is teaching that in the sloka number 10, Sakhayajnaha prajaha sristva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavisyadvam yesavostu ishtakama dukh. So Sakhayajnaha prajaha. So both yajnas and prajas means the people. So the praja means the society, the human, everyone. So Krishna, the Prajapati. Prajapati means the Lord of creatures. So Sristva, after creating the both yajnas and the persons and the prajas. So and the generations. So after creating both, because Prajapati, the Lord of creatures, created both, and then that means yajna is already has been created. What we need to do, how we need to do yajna, how we have to offer, how we need to do all those things. In fact, in the 4th chapter, we are going to study all those things, different types of yajnas. Different types of yajnas Krishna is going to teach in the 4th chapter. And at the end, after teaching all the yajnas, Krishna says in one sloka there, Sarvepyete yajnavido yajnakshapita kalmasaga yajnasistamrita bujo yanti brahma sanatana. Sarvepyete yajnavido, by knowing all these different types of yajnas, Sarvepyete yajnavido Yajnakshapita kalmasagam. One who is freed from all sins by performing these yajnas. So yajnasistamrita pujo. So one we will be able to relish, one we will be able to taste that Krishna's abode. Basically, yajnasistamrita pujo, amritam, the permanent life in Krishna's abode. So yanti brahma sanatanam. He enters into Krishna's abode. That's what yanti brahma sanatanam. So that's why in the 4th chapter we are going to study about all these various yajnas. So here Krishna is teaching us very clearly that Sahayajnaga prajaga sristva purovacha prajapati anena prasavisyadvam yesavoshtu ishtakamaduka. So be happy by doing all these yajnas and get what you want. So that's what it has been mentioned. So that means every work, everything what we do, it has to be done as an offering unto Krishna. So how to offer unto Krishna? So through demigods also. So here what we are studying in the next sloka. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaga sreyaga param avapsyata. So by doing all these yajnas, the demigods will be pleased, because demigods are representatives of Krishna. So they are all working for Krishna. So for Agni, for fire, similarly Varunadev for water, and like that there are Vayu Bhagavan. So like that there are demigods for everything. So when we do all these yajnas, they will actually carry that and give it to Krishna, because Krishna is ultimately is the Yajna Purusha. Krishna is the Yajna Purusha. Krishna is the Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa. Krishna is the enjoyer of all yajnas. So everything. So that way here when we do these offerings unto that, but one important thing is that Yajnanam Japa Yajnosmi. That's what Krishna says in the 10th chapter we will study. Of all the yajnas, I am the Japa Yajna. Japa Yajna means chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra only. So that is the best yajna we have to do. That's why every day I emphasize that chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is very, very important. So here Krishna is saying that Devan Bhavayatanena Te Deva Bhavayantuvaga Parasparam Bhavayantaga then Seyaga Paramavapsyata. So then you get benefit. So you offer to everything to demigods and then they take care of you. They will offer everything back to you. And that way both Parasparam means both pleasing each other. So you try to please the demigods and the demigods please you by pleasing each other. So you get what you want. So be happy. That's what the Lord of Creatures said. But one important thing we need to understand when we are studying this Bhagavad Gita, because we are so much engaged in serving Krishna, so much engaged in glorifying Krishna, and our goal is Krishna. As Krishna says at the end of this Bhagavad Gita, you surrender unto me completely. I shall take care of you fully. So that way, we really don't have to time. We have to just offer unto Krishna everything directly, and we have to just study Bhagavad Gita. And this is our yajna. So what we are doing this every day, studying Bhagavad Gita is yajna, and then teach this Bhagavad Gita to others, and bring many devotees to our Bhagavad Gita class, and make as many devotees as possible. So that's the yajna. So that way we are directly pleasing Krishna. So that's very important thing we need to understand. So Devan Bhavayatanena Te Deva Bhavayantu. Then in the next sloka, what we are studying, in the 12th sloka, Ishtan Bogan Hivo Devan Dasyante Yajna Bhavitaha Tairdaitana Pradayabhyo Yobum Testena Yevasaha. So Ishtan Bogan Hivo Deva. So those demigods, so because they get what they want when we perform these yajnas to them, and being pleased with that, they give us what we want. So Dasyante Yajna Bhavitaga. So now we should actually, again in return, we should be thankful to them, and we should again offer to them. So Tairatan Apradayabhyo. But those who don't give it back, so they are verily thieves. They are yobungte stene evasaka. Those who are just trying to enjoy the results, they are just thieves, instead of not offering to the demigods. That's what Krishna is teaching here. So, for example, rain. Here, rain is given, and all the foods, everything is given. So what all we need, everything, these natural resources, everything, they're all controlled by different demigods. They are all working for Krishna. They're all under Krishna's service, basically. Like in a government, like so many different departments are there. Each department has got its own head, and they will have control over what they are doing it. And of course, then the top person will be there. So here Krishna is the ultimate supreme personality of Godhead. So everybody is working for Krishna, and we should also work for Krishna. Our goal is only to please Krishna. So when we please Krishna, but here the relationship is actually Krishna is there, loves us so much, and here Krishna will also serve us. That is the main thing. Krishna is trying to please us. Like Krishna was driving Arjuna's chariot. Krishna was doing so many wonderful services to his devotees. So that way, here this is not just a one way. So that means Krishna is also offering everything to us. That is the main thing. Krishna is willing to give us. Krishna is saying that I give everything to my devotees. So Krishna, Yogakshema Mahamyakam. So Yogakshema Mahamyakam means I give what they want. I take care of my devotees very well. So Krishna wants to take care of us very well. So only we need to surrender unto Krishna with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, with unconditional love and devotion. Then our life will be very, very peaceful and blissful. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, we have successfully finished 12 slokas in the 3rd chapter. So I will stop now and we'll discuss if any questions are there. Hare Krishna. We hand over to Siva Prabhu.
Thank you, Guruji. I'll want to release the devotees. We don't have any questions as of now. I'll unmute some regular devotees. Srinivas Naredla, I'll unmute you so that you can talk with Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. It was pretty clear. I have no questions as such today. Thank you so much.
Very nice, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Ranjit Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Pranam. I wanted to ask you that you said Japa Yagna
Yes,
in 10th chapter.
Yes, Prabhu.
I don't remember. So will you please repeat that again?
Yes, Prabhu. I remember in one sloka Krishna was saying that. I'm just trying to go that sloka, Prabhu. So yes, Prabhu. So Japa is chanting Krishna's mantra, Prabhu, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So yeah, in the sloka number 25, Prabhu, in the 10th chapter, sloka number 25, Krishna is saying that Maharishina Bruguraham Jiramasmi Ekam Aksharam Yajnanam Japa Yajnosmi Stavaranam Himalayaka. So, of the sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, that is Japa. So, this chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is a Japa. So, that's the Yajna. Krishna is saying that of all the Yajnas, I am the Japa Yajna. So in everything here, Krishna says that out of everything, I am this, I am the, like that. Krishna is saying in the 10th chapter, there is Vibhuti Yoga, the opulence of the absolute. So here, of all the different yajnas, this Japa Yajna, so that's why chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is what we call it as Japa, doing Japa. So that is the best yajna we can do every day, Prabhu. So that's what the meaning. You understand that, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Nicely explained today 4 slokas. Just what I am understanding is the demigods or the celestial gods. We should not worry for them. If you pray Krishna, it goes to him because they are born or they are created from them. So I know in India, our Veda says we have 33 crores gods are there, but how do you pass the message to in the team that if you pray Krishna, that's enough, right? We don't need to worry for anybody.
That's what in the last sloka, in the last chapter towards the end, Krishna is saying that you just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchakam. So, if anyone knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then Krishna is saying that he is the knower of everything and he worships me in all respects. Yomam evam asammudo jnanati purushottama sasarvavid. He is the knower of everything. Sarva bhavena bharata. Sasarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. In all respects, he will only worship me. That's what Krishna is saying. So that way, if we become a devotee of Krishna with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then if we worship Krishna, if we are so busy in serving Krishna, so at that point of time, there is no need for us to individually to go and serve different demigods and different gods, because they all will be very much pleased, because they all want actually, even when we go to different temples and worship them, that you give me this, give me that, they all want us actually to go and ask Krishna, worship Krishna only. So what we need is the Krishna's service to Krishna, pleasing Krishna. So, but here, because we don't have the knowledge, that's why we are doing it. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has said very clearly, Kamaiste hritagnyanaga prabatyante anya devataga tam niyamam mastaya prakritya niyata swayaga. Because they don't have knowledge. Kritagnyanaga means they don't have knowledge. So because of that, because they have desires, kama is there kritagnyanaga, they surrender into other gods. Prabhatyante anya devata. Anya devata means other gods, and they worship them. So that's what Krishna is saying. And Krishna also said that epi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidipurvam. So those who are devotees of other gods and worship them with faith, they are actually worshipping only me, but they are not doing it in the right way. That's what Krishna is teaching. So that way, we understand from Bhagavad Gita very clearly, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna is saying directly in Bhagavad Gita that, Mayarpita mano buddhigi, you offer your mind and intelligence unto me. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evasisi tvaivam atmana matparayana. You always think of me, become my devotee. Offer your obeisance unto me, worship me, all those things when Krishna is saying that. So when we get so much busy in serving Krishna, so that means we really don't have time to please the demigods alone. So we can just, if Krishna is pleased, then everybody is pleased. So that's what we need to understand. So that if they understand Bhagavad Gita, then everybody will be able to understand this. You got it, Prabhu? Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Guruji. Ashwani Kumar Chibbar has raised a hand. Yes. I'll unmute you, Ashwani. You can talk with Guruji now.
Yeah, Namaste. Guruji, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, there's some confusion here
Mhm.
that the voice of the abode of Krishna is supposed to be in the heart.
Yes,
Then the voice of Krishna will flow from the heart. Am
yes,
I right?
Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Then whatever the indications are there from the heart, we have to follow that.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Then whatever actions we do, suppose whatever the actions we want to do is coming from the heart, we should follow that.
Yes, Prabhu. So that's why we need to just study Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna is teaching us very clearly what all the knowledge what we want in Bhagavad Gita very well. So then we will be able to, first thing is we should be able to control our mind. So when our mind is fully under control, then we will be able to listen to Krishna who is in our heart. So that's why Krishna is saying that Jitatmanaga prasantasya paramatma samahitaga. So those who have conquered their mind, Jitatmanaga means conquered the mind. Prasantasya, having achieved the peace of mind, Jitatmanaga prasantasya paramatma samakitaga. Then we will be able to feel, we will be able to realize Paramatma, and we will be able to hear from him. So that's why we need to this Japa Yajna, Yajnanam Japa Yajnosmi. So chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and control our mind by focusing our mind on Krishna's mantra, Krishna's name. So then we will be able to do that. So what all we need, what all we need to hear from Krishna, Krishna has already given in Bhagavad Gita completely. And with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, if we just chant and connect with that Paramatma who is seated in our heart as the super soul, and then we will be able to basically achieve that steady intelligence. We will not be disturbed by anything in this material world. So that is possible. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
One more question is one is that karma indriya.
Yeah.
What is the other one?
Jnanendriya. Jnanendriya.
What is the difference between the two?
So Jnanendriyas are knowledge acquiring senses, and Karmendriyas are the working senses.
Yes.
So with the Jnanendriyas, you are getting the knowledge. So the eyes, nose, ears, tongue, and then skin, they are all Jnanendriyas. So the sense of seeing, sense of smelling, sense of hearing, sense of tasting, sense of touching, with all those things you are getting the knowledge. And then you are acting, you will be able to act only with the Karmendriyas. That's why they are working senses. So that's why Krishna is saying that Indriyani Dasa Ekam cha. Dasa Ekam means 11 senses, including the mind. So these 10 senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses and mind. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says that Indriyana Manaschasmi. Of all the senses, I am the mind. So you understand that, Prabhu?
Thank you, Guruji. We have, R.K. Goyal has sent a message in the group that Hare Krishna Guruji, your class was so simple and straight. I am surprised now why we were not able to understand it so far. Thank you, R.K. Goyal Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I'll unmute Annie Pepper. Annie, you can talk with Guruji now.
Hare Krishna Guruji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Your talk tonight was very clear, very encouraging. I have no questions. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji. I'm unmuting Munmun. Munmun, you can talk with Guruji now.
Achieve equanimity, so being equal in both success and failure. So that's what is called yoga. So karma yoga means when you are acting, when you are performing your activities, duties, basically duties. So if you are not disturbed by the results, so that means not attached to the results, not disturbed by the results. So that is what is called karma yoga. So karma is the duty what we are doing in karma. And when you call it as yoga, means you are equal when you get the results. You are not affected by the results. So that is what is called karma yoga. So all of us have to do karma yoga. It's very important. So that by doing that only, we will be able to get free from this. We will be able to achieve the status of yoga. So
Thank
So
you,
Bhakti
Guruji.
Yoga is a variation of Karma Yoga where you are directly engaged in Krishna's service. Okay, yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji. I will unmute Anu. Anu, you can talk with Guruji now.
Karmendriyas or the 5 working senses are Karmendriyas. That's why Krishna is saying that Karmendriyai Karma Yogam. Karmendriyai Karma Yogam asaktaga savisisyate. So Yastvindriyani Manasa Niyamyarabate Arjuna Karmendriyai Karma Yogam asaktaga savisisyate. So you perform karma yoga with your karmendriyas. So karmendriyas are the 5 working senses. So there is our hands, legs, and our voice, basically our jaw. So whatever we are able to move. So whichever, basically it's motor nervous system. So what in the neuroscience they study, there is called motor nervous system. So that means you are able to like move. So that's what is called the motor nervous system. So they are all karmendriyas. So there is legs, hands, and then our jaw, because we are able to make voice. So that's what in general it is voice, but we are able to eat, we are able to move our jaw. So with our will, if I want to open my mouth, I am able to open my mouth. If I want to close my mouth, I am able to close my mouth. So that way I'm doing. So that's why it is karma. Even sarira van manobhihi yat karma. So sarira van. So van means by our speech also we can perform activities by asking somebody to do something. So that is sarira van manobhi. So then the 4th one is the genital, and then 5th one is the anus. So they are also under our control. We are able to control. So these 5 things are known as karmendriyas. So you understand, Prabhu, about the karmendriyas?
Thank you, Guruji. So then what about ears and eyes, Guruji? Where will that come from?
Ears and eyes are jnanendriyas. Because with eyes you are getting the knowledge. You are not doing anything. You are only you are with ears you are hearing and getting the knowledge. So with eyes, ears, and nose, and then tongue, and then skin, you are getting the knowledge. So that's what they are known as jnanendriyas. 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and then 5 working senses. So with the knowledge acquiring senses, you are getting the knowledge. With working senses, you are using that knowledge. You are applying that knowledge. Using that knowledge, you are working. So,
Thank you, Guruji.
For example, if the taste you know that sweet, you know how the sweet tastes. So with the knowledge occurring sense of the tasting, you are getting the knowledge about the sweet. And then when you see a sweet, then you have to use the karmendriyas, that is working senses, to take the sweet and put in our mouth. So that at that time we are doing a duty, we are doing an activity. So there is a karma. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji. I'll unmute Aravam.
The main thing, like not only for this month, but all the time we need to study Bhagavad Gita. Every day studying Bhagavad Gita, like we are studying Bhagavad Gita every day. If you are able to join every day and understand this Bhagavad Gita, and we should every day chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that is the only thing. That's what as we study today also, we quoted in this sloka number 25 in the 10th chapter, Yajnanam Japa Yajnosmi. Of all the yajnas, I am the Japa Yajna. So that's what Krishna is saying. So chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so that we need to do every day. And then studying Bhagavad Gita, so that is everything. So this we have to do every day. So then if you have time, then listen to Brahma Samhita. So that's where Krishna is glorified. So you can hearing Brahma Samhita also will benefit you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji. I will unmute Professor Natarajan, sir. Professor.
Yajna is the sacrifice. I mean, we are doing service to the Krishna. That is only the Yajna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Yajna is basically what in English normally when you translate we sacrifice, but sometimes we think that sacrifice means you are sacrificing animals, so that's what yajna, but that is not the actual meaning. There are many different yajnas. The meaning is yajna means you are offering unto Krishna. That's what you can put it as an offering. So when you are doing it everything for Krishna and you give it to Krishna, so that's what is called yajna. Because Krishna is saying that bhoktaram. Bhokta means enjoyer. So Krishna is the enjoyer of all the yajnas, bhoktaram yajna tapasam. So that way, when you do it for Krishna, for the satisfaction of Krishna, so that then you call it as yajna. So that is the
Yajna.
main, yeah, that is called yajna, when you do it for the satisfaction of Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu. Prabhu, in the battlefield, the Arjuna killing their family members. Actually, this is the wrong, right? I mean, the killing is the. I mean, that is. So how why we have to kill them?
That's what Arjuna told Krishna, that why should I kill them? But Krishna told Arjuna that you are a Kshatriya, Dharmyadik Yuddhat Shreyonyad Kshatriyasya na vidyate. For Kshatriya, other than fighting for Dharma, nothing is better than, nothing is better. So that way, Arjuna has to kill there, otherwise Dharma won't prevail. So righteousness, in order to bring righteousness in the society, he has to kill all of them. So that's why he was doing it. So you understand it, bro?
Thank you, Guruji.
Class going on, and we are immensely getting the benefits of this class. I am trying to convince those who are in association with me to
Yes.
get attracted to Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
And people are really very, very ignorant about this divine knowledge.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it is our humble duty to follow the instructions of Lord Krishna and spread this knowledge. It is
Yes.
immensely beneficial to the society, I believe. Thank you, Guruji, for doing this pious service.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your service to Krishna. Actually, definitely, when we just want to desire, if we desire, Krishna will use us tools, and Krishna will do all the wonders. Prabhu, Krishna will give you all the resources to make many devotees. Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. I will unmute Meera Madhubushi. Meera, you can talk with